Have you ever felt like awareness itself is doing the heavy lifting? Not just witnessing experience, but somehow making experience possible? What if that ordinary, quietly stubborn fact is the dark secret about consciousness that many ancient thinkers already suspected? Welcome to Beyond the Mind channel. The phrase dark secret isn't theatrical hyperbole here. It points to an uncomfortable possibility. Consciousness may resist being fully explained by the usual material stories. Long before modern neuroscience, philosophers and contemplatives across cultures insisted on one or both of two surprising claims. Either consciousness is ontologically primary, it's the ground in which the world appears, or it has properties that cannot be reduced to mere physical processes. Those claims shift the research question from how does the brain produce consciousness to what sort of thing is consciousness so that it can do what it does. That reframing is the secret ancient traditions tended to protect. Not mystical trivia, but a provocative methodological stance. In this episode, we'll do three things. Unpack what the dark secret really refers to, the explanatory gap, the presence of self-lucid awareness, and the intuition of consciousness as irreducible. Survey how several ancient lines of thought, selected Upanishadic and Vedic insights, Plato and Neoplatonism, Taoist/Chan reflections, and some medieval contemplatives expressed versions of that claim in experiential and philosophical terms. Bring those perspectives into dialogue with contemporary debates in philosophy and neuroscience. The hard problem, panpsychism, reflexive awareness models, global workspace, and predictive processing accounts, and show how ancient insights can sharpen modern questions and experiments. A few important framing notes before we continue. I'm not arguing for mystical certainty or rejecting neuroscience. The goal here is cross-fertilization. Use careful phenomenology and ancient frameworks to generate clearer hypotheses and better experiments. The dark secret is not a conspiratorial truth to be hoarded. It's a methodological pivot that demands humility. Differences in language, poetic versus technical, can obscure shared observations about experience. We'll translate, not conflate, safety. Exploring deep questions about self and reality can be destabilizing for some. Derealization, intense existential anxiety. If you have a history of severe dissociation, psychosis, or trauma, proceed gently and consider guidance from a clinician or experienced contemplative teacher. What you'll get from this video: a concise description of the core intuition ancient thinkers converged on, why they considered awareness special, plain language parallels between those intuitions and two modern moves. 1. Treating consciousness as fundamental, or at least non-reducible. And 2. Modeling awareness as a reflexive, self-monitoring process. Practical implications. How this shift changes research questions, experimental designs, and everyday practice. Plus safe micro-experiments you can run on your own. Phenomenology. Practical prep. Have a notebook or a notes app ready. As we progress, I'll ask you to record 2 tiny baselines. 1 sentence describing your current felt certainty about being conscious, and a quick rating, 1 to 5, of how stable your sense of self/awareness feels right now. These simple measures will make the later experiential checks meaningful. Structure. Part 2 will present the ancient perspectives, short, disciplined readings in the Upanishads, Plato, Taoist texts, and selected contemplative aphorisms, translated into modern experiential language. Part 3 will place those claims beside modern philosophical and neuroscientific positions. Part 4 will offer compact phenomenological experiments you can run to test the claims in your own experience. Part 5 will provide an integration plan and suggestions for cautious study. If you're curious, steady your breath for a moment, notice that you notice, and jot your baseline sentence and rating. When you're ready, we'll move on to the ancient perspectives in Part 2. Ancient perspectives, what earlier thinkers noticed about consciousness. This section surveys 4 representative streams of ancient thought and translates their central intuition about consciousness into clear, testable, first-person language. For each tradition I give: A, the core claim in plain words; B, how it shows up in lived experience; and C, a very short phenomenological prompt you can try now, 30 to 90 seconds. These prompts are simple checks, data gathering for your own experience, not spiritual posturing. If any prompt feels destabilizing, stop and ground. Hold your feet on the floor, breathe slowly, or place a hand on your belly. Upanishads and Vedic intuition, the self-Atman, as the ground of knowing, core claim in plain words. The deepest self is not just a bundle of perceptions or thoughts, but an abiding knowingness in which all experience appears. This ground is present before any object or story arises. How it feels materially, a background quality, steady, open, and prior to particular sensations or thoughts. It can be experienced as a quiet stillness or a simple I am that does not need content to justify itself. Short prompt 30, 60s. Sit quietly. Let your attention relax from content and ask inwardly, what is aware right now? Don't search for images. Notice the bare sense of presence that remains when you drop descriptions. Jot one word. How would you name that background? Plato and Neoplatonism, the intelligible source and reflexive seeing. Core claim in plain words. Beyond the shifting sensible world, there's a more real realm of forms or intelligible truths. Consciousness can orient toward those forms and, in its best moments, knows itself by the light it reflects. Consciousness is both seer and mirror. How it feels materially. Moments of clarity where perception feels more like insight than passive reception. A felt recognition of pattern or meaning with an accompanying reflexive tone. I see that I see. Short prompt 30, 60s. Look at a simple object, a leaf, a mug. Notice the pattern or shape. Then see if you can note the moment of insight separately. I see the pattern. Hold that reflexive flicker for a breath and notice any tonal change. Taoist and Chan, Zen reflections. Subtle, non-conceptual ground and spontaneous response. Core claim in plain words. The fundamental reality is an ungraspable flow, Tao. True knowing is immediate, non-conceptual, and shows itself in spontaneous, appropriate response rather than in abstract theorizing. Awareness is lived, dynamic, and action-oriented. How it feels materially. A sense of fluid attention that responds without getting stuck in judgments. A directness where thought steps aside, and a practical, embodied clarity appears. Short prompt 30, 60s. While standing or walking slowly. Notice how your body adjusts moment to moment. Weight shifts, microbalances. Don't narrate. Just feel the responsiveness. After 30 seconds, note whether awareness feels more like a doing or an observing. Medieval contemplatives, e.g., Meister Eckhart, Pseudo-Dionysius. A luminous simplicity beyond concepts. Core claim in plain words. Contemplatives report an experience of awareness as luminous, simple, and often beyond ordinary discourse. A direct encounter with a presence that is more primary than beliefs or images. They emphasize contemplative practice to unmake conceptual clutter and taste that simplicity. How it feels materially. Brief windows of luminous quiet where appreciating or judging drops away, and the world appears suffused with a calm immediacy, often described as seeing things nakedly. Short prompt 45, 90s. Close your eyes and let words fall away. Rest in a soft open silence, noticing what remains when names and judgments are suspended. If an image arrives, let it dissolve like mist. Return to the bare felt presence. Afterward, write one short line, describing any change in tone, common threads, and what to notice across traditions. Reflexivity. Many traditions highlight a reflexive knowing that knows. Notice how often your awareness turns on itself. Primacy. The idea that awareness feels primary. Test whether presence seems more fundamental than passing contents. Temporality. Attention alternates between a steady background and dynamic pulses. Notice the contrast in frequency. Practical orientation. All traditions give practice-based suggestions, not just metaphors. Next step. In part 3, we'll place these experiential observations beside modern philosophical categories and neural mechanisms, predictive coding, global workspace, oscillatory pulses, interoception, so you can see where ancient insight and contemporary science converge and diverge. When you're ready, move on to the neural mappings, modern frameworks and neural mechanisms, bridging ancient intuitions and contemporary science. In this section, we place the phenomenological claims from Part 2 beside current philosophical positions and neuroscientific models. The goal is functional mapping. Offer plausible, testable correspondences between first-person descriptions, Shiva, Spanda, Pratyabhijna, etc., and third-person mechanisms, networks, oscillations, predictive hierarchies. Treat these as working hypotheses for experiment and practice, not definitive identifications. Philosophical scaffolds, how modern thinkers frame the problem, the explanatory gaps/hard problem. Consciousness has qualitative, first-person aspects that are not obviously reducible to physical descriptions. This is the core tension many ancient texts pointed to, that what it is like resists simple mechanistic accounts. Practically, this motivates careful phenomenology and minimal, within-person experiments rather than grand reduction claims. Neutral monism/panpsychism/property dualism. Contemporary frameworks that accept either that consciousness is a fundamental aspect of matter, panpsychism, that mental/physical are two aspects of a neutral base, neutral monism, or that mental properties are irreducible, property dualism. These theories provide conceptual space for ancient claims that awareness is primary, but they differ in empirical commitments. For practice, they mainly change the framing of questions rather than the micro-practices themselves. Reflexive/higher-order accounts. Some philosophical models treat consciousness as the brain's representation of its own states, higher-order thought, higher-order perception. This directly resonates with the Shaiva emphasis on self-recognition, pratyabhijna, the experience of I know that I know. 2. Leading neuroscientific models and their relevance. Global workspace theory, GWT/global neural workspace. Conscious contents become available when distributed broadcast occurs across a frontoparietal network. Mapping. Shiva-like sustained availability could correspond to a lowered threshold for such broadcasts or a more readily accessible workspace. Measurables. Increased frontoparietal connectivity during reportable awareness, faster broadcast latencies, recurrent processing/integrated recurrent loops, local recurrent activity, sensory left-right arrow higher areas, supports phenomenal content even without broad broadcast. Mapping. Spanda as early recurrent phase resets and thalamocortical reverberations that scaffold content. Measurables. Early EEG/MEG phase resets and localized recurrent activity preceding reportable perception. Predictive processing/hierarchical Bayesian models. The brain is an inference engine minimizing prediction error via top-down priors and bottom-up signals. Mapping. Mentalism, experience as constructed. Align strongly here. Shifting priors changes perception. Spanda can be read as transient changes in prediction precision. Tiny shifts that enable new content. Measurables, changes in precision weighting observable via evoked potentials, altered prediction error signals, context-dependent neural gain, e.g., pupil/EEG signatures, higher-order thought/reflexive awareness models. Consciousness involves a representation of representations. Mapping, pratyabhijna self-recognition, directly corresponds to higher-order detection systems, frontopolar/anterior PFC, ACC, anterior insula. Measurables, activation/coherence in APFC/ACC at moments of meta-recognition, reduced latency between event and report. Self-model theory. SMT, the brain constructs a model of itself, a self-model, that enables subjectivity. Mappings for tantria, autonomous freedom. links to the richness and malleability of the self-model. Practice that expands volitional control modifies the self-model's bandwidth and flexibility. Measurables: altered medial prefrontal/insular connectivity and shifts in self-referential processing markers. Embodied/interoceptive models: bodily signals, interoception, shape feeling, and awareness. Mapping: abhasa/anubhava, appearance versus lived feeling, correspond to sensory representations versus interoceptive affective encoding. Coupling between sensory cortices and insula determines how embodied an experience feels. Measurables: insulosensory coupling on fMRI, interoceptive accuracy tasks, HRV and somatic markers. 3. Neural substrates and dynamic signatures to watch. Thalamocortical loops and phase resets. Thalamus plus cortex interactions gate broadcast and timing. Spanda-like pulses may be instantiated by rapid phase resets or microstate shifts measurable with EG/MEG. Frontoparietal/global workspace hubs. Dorsolateral PFC. Inferior parietal lobule. Medial frontal regions involved in reportability and metacontrol, linked to sustained Shiva-like availability. Anterior insula and ACC. Interoception, monitoring, and eris signaling, central to pratyabhijna, and the lived feeling, anubhava. Default mode network, DMN, versus task-positive networks, the balance between spontaneous, self-referential narratives and engaged attention maps onto stability versus wandering. Many contemplative reports of luminous simplicity, track reductions, and uncontrolled DMN dominance. Neuromodulatory systems. Locus coeruleus norepinephrine L-CNE for gain and alerting, dopamine for salience and motivation. These tune Shakti, drive/manifestation, and effect gating for conscious access. Pupillometry is a useful proxy for L-CNE activity, heart-brain coherence, and HRV. Vagal tone as a peripheral index of regulatory capacity. Correlates with ease of stabilizing presence and flexible attention. For testable first-person, left-right arrow third-person hypotheses, practical experimental suggestions, recognition latency hypothesis, pratyabhijna training aimed at reflexive noticing should shorten the latency from an inner event to reportable recognition. Observable: decrease in reaction times on random interval awareness probes, increased frontopolar activation at recognition onset. Spanda detection and intervention hypothesis: increasing sensitivity to subtle pulses will allow earlier interruption of automatic impulses. Observable: more frequent pre-event detections and higher success rate of brief interventions, e.g., 2-breath reset, and changing subsequent behavior. EEG pre-activation patterns preceding reported impulses. Abhasa/anubhava decoupling hypothesis: practices that distinguish form from felt tone reduce effective coupling. Observable: lower coactivation between sensory cortex and insula/limbic structures for matched stimuli. Lower subjective effect for similar perceptual vividness. Shiva stability and DMN modulation hypothesis: practices stabilizing background awareness reduce uncontrolled DMN intrusions and increase task-relevant network flexibility. Observable: decreased DMN power during resting state probes. Increased frontoparietal connectivity during prolonged open awareness. Svatantria and spontaneous repertoire hypothesis: volitional attention practices increase diversity of spontaneous activity, microstate repertoire, and volitional switching ability. Observable: increased microstate variety in EEG, improved task switch metrics, higher self-reported agency. V. Measurement notes and practical proxies. EEG/MEG. Good temporal resolution for phase resets, microstates, cross-frequency coupling, Spanda.fMRI. Spatial mapping of network connectivity, Shiva/global workspace. Abhasa/anubhava coupling, HRV and pupillometry. Accessible peripheral markers for vagal tone and L-CNE activity respectively. Experience sampling and behavioral probes. Simple bell/tap recognition tasks, reaction time probes, labeling counts, essential for within-person change detection, microstate analysis, tracks transient, Whole brain configurations, useful for detecting repertoire richness, svatantria, and stability, Shiva. 6. Limitations, caveats, and epistemic humility. Correlation versus identity. Mapping phenomenology to neural measures is inferential. Similar signatures may accompany different subjective states. Use repeated with in-person trials and convergent measures. Individual variability. Baseline neural signatures and phenomenology vary greatly. Use with in-person baselines and small and longitudinal designs rather than cross-sectional generalization. Safety and destabilization. Deep inquiry into presence can produce derealization or anxiety in vulnerable individuals. Always provide grounding options and recommend professional guidance when needed. Conceptual modesty. Ancient metaphors and modern technical terms speak different languages. Mappings are heuristic bridges, not literal translations. 7. How this informs practice and experiment design. Prioritize short, repeatable probes, recognition latency, Spanda detection, HRV pre/post that provide fast feedback loops. Combine first-person reports with simple physiological proxies for richer inference, e.g. tap latency plus pupil plus e.g. microstate snapshot. Adopt iterative within subject experiment loops. Baseline intervention 2 to 4 weeks. Retest, adjust. This mirrors the ancient practice ethic of repeated, measured exercise. Use phenomenological prompts from Part 2 immediately before/after objective probes to link felt report to measurable change. Transition to Part 4. With these mappings and hypotheses in hand, Part 4 will offer concrete micro-practices and experimental routines designed to target the neural mechanisms above, e.g. short Shiva stabilization sessions aimed at DMM modulation. Spanda sensitivity drills paired with EEG/HRV probes. If you're ready to move from mapping to doing, proceed to the practical protocols in Part 4, practical practices and micro-experiments. This part turns the conceptual mappings into short, repeatable practices and small experiments you can run immediately. Each exercise includes step-by-step instructions, a simple measurable hypothesis, beginner/advanced variations, and safety notes. Use a notebook or notes app and log each run, one line per practice. Treat these as data-gathering experiments on your own experience. 1. Grounded presence, stabilizing the background. Purpose, cultivate a steady, reportable background sense of awareness. The I am ground many ancient thinkers point to. Steps, sit upright, feet grounded, hands resting. Soften the eyes or close them. Take 3 slow diaphragmatic breaths. Soften attention to include everything in the field, sounds, body, thoughts, without focusing on any single object. Let the sense of being aware be the implicit anchor. If distracted, silently tag thought or sensation. Then return to the open background. Duration, 5 to 10 minutes. Hypothesis, label counts decrease and post-practice clarity ratings increase after 1 to 2 weeks. Beginner, 3 to 5 minutes. Allow frequent noting. Advanced, 10 to 15 minutes with longer silent intervals and reduced verbal tags. Safety, if you feel ungrounded or spacey, place feet flat and shorten practice point 2. Recognition latency probe, train pratyabhijna. Purpose, shorten the lag between an inner event and reflexive, I noticed recognition. Steps, use a random interval bell/tone app, 6 to 8 tones over 6 to 8 minutes. When the bell rings, press a key or tap as soon as you notice any inner shift, thought arising, mind wandering emotion. Mark whether the tap was immediate or delayed. Record average latency or proportion immediate versus delayed. Duration, 6 to 8 minutes per run. Hypothesis, immediate recognitions increase and average latency decreases after daily practice. Beginner, broaden acceptance, any inward shift counts. Advanced, combine with pulse detection and attempt to preempt the content after noticing Spanda. Safety, keep sessions short to avoid frustration. Point 3. Content suspension / naked seeing. Plato / mystical simplicity. Purpose. Practice perceiving without conceptual overlay. Observe forms without labeling or judging. Steps. Choose a neutral object, leaf, mug. Soft gaze. For 60 to 90 seconds, describe only sensory features silently, shape, color, texture, and then intentionally drop description. Rest in the raw presence of seeing for 30 seconds. Log any tonal change or surprise in clarity. Duration, 3 to 5 minutes total. Hypothesis. Frequency of immediate perceptual insight increases and evaluative talk decreases with practice. Beginner. Alternate 30s describe /30s rest. Advanced. Attempt same with short autobiographical images. Note effect shift. Safety. If intense emotions arise, return to grounding and shorter trials. Point 4. Spanda's sensitivity drill. Detect the subtle pulse. Purpose. Tune into precognitive micropulses that often precede full thoughts or impulses. Steps. Sit with a hand on the sternum or belly. Breathe naturally for 1 minute. For 5 to 10 minutes, attend for the smallest swell, tone, or ripple that seems to precede a thought or urge. When you detect one, silently tag pulse and observe whether content follows and how long it takes. Optionally use a 2-breath pause immediately after detection to test intervention. Hypothesis. Detection frequency and successful early interventions increase with practice. Beginner. 5 minutes, expect few detections. Advanced, time interventions and track outcome. Interrupted versus not. Safety. Avoid hypervigilance. If anxious, switch to grounding breath. Point 5. 2-breath reset. Micro tool for re-anchoring. Purpose. Quick regulatory tool for recentering attention and vagal tone. Steps. Inhale slowly for 4 counts. Exhale for 6 counts. Repeat twice. Add a soft hum on the exhale if helpful. Notice shift in tone and reassess clarity / agency. Duration. 30 to 60 seconds. Hypothesis. Immediate increase in HRV proxies and subjective calm. Repeated use reduces reactive replies. Beginner. Slower counts, 3:4. Advanced. Integrate with trigger routines, phone unlock before reply. Safety. Avoid forceful breath retention if medical conditions apply. Point 6. Narrative interruption, labeling and decentering. Purpose. Weaken automatic story fusion by brief labeling and shifting to bare noticing. Steps. When a thought or story arises, label it briefly, future thought, judgment. Then shift attention to a single neutral sensation, breath or feet, for 10 to 20 seconds. Log labeling count and post-practice reactivity rating. Duration. Micro tool repeated across day. Hypothesis. Labeling frequency then decline. Emotional reactivity to triggers lowers over weeks. Beginner. Label once then return to breath. Advanced. Practice immediate micropause and record behavioral outcome. Did you reply / react? Safety. Label gently. Avoid self-criticism. Point 7. Volitional presence. Svatantria practice. Purpose. Exercise the freedom to choose attention independent of external pulls. Steps. Begin with 1 to 2 minutes of grounded presence. Intentionally shift attention to a subtle stimulus you normally ignore, fingertip sensation, distant sound, and hold for 30 to 60 seconds. Then intentionally generate and sustain a simple inner image or intention for 30 to 60 seconds. Repeat 4 to 6 cycles. Duration, 8 to 15 minutes. Hypothesis. Subjective agency ratings and task switch flexibility improve over weeks. Beginner. Shorter holds 15-20s. Advanced. Rapid alternation and added simple cognitive task to test flexibility. Safety. Stop if practice feels forced or exhausting. Point 8. Abhasa versus anabhava differentiation. Form versus felt. Purpose. Decouple content from felt tone to reduce automatic effective fusion. Steps. Recall or view a short image. Spend 30, 60s describing only the form, shape/colors. Abhasa. Rate vividness 1 to 5. Spend 30, 60s tuning only to felt tone/body sensation. Anubhava. Rate intensity 1 to 5. Repeat with another image and log coupling index, how strongly form predicts feeling. Duration 8 to 12 minutes. Hypothesis. Correlation between form vividness and effect reduces after practice. Beginner, neutral images. Advanced, mildly charged memories with caution. Safety. Avoid trauma content unless supported. 0.9. Integrated short sequence, 12 to 20 minutes. Purpose. Combine capacities into a compact, testable routine. Sequence. Grounded presence, 2 to 3 minutes. Spanda sensitivity, 2 to 4 minutes. Recognition latency probe, 3 random tones, 3 to 4 minutes. Shallow Shakti. Intentionally generate a helpful image/idea for 3 cycles, 2 to 3 minutes. Svatantria hold. Choose subtle sensation and hold 30. 60s. Journal 1 line. Hypothesis. Linked practice produces synergistic gains, e.g., faster recognition after Spanda work. Variation. Reverse order or extend one practice for focused experiment. 0.10. Daily micro tools, 30 to 60 seconds. 2 breath reset before potential triggers. Pulse check. 30's quick Spanda scan when tension rises. Recognition tag. Silently say notice the moment you become aware of a mental event. Use these as automatic interrupts to habitual patterns. Measurement and logging 1-line template. Pastable 1-line log for a Notes app. 20 to 609. Grounded presence 7M. Labels 5. Clarity 3 note. Jaw softened. Suggested fields. Date, practice, duration, metrics, labels, latency, agency. 1-line observation. Key metrics to track. Labels per sit, distraction counts. Recognition latency or proportion immediate versus delayed. Seconds or percent. Subjective clarity/calm. 1 to 5. Post-practice ARV, RMSSD. Pre/post for Spanda or 2 breath reset. If available behavioral metric. Pauses before reply. Interrupted impulses. Agency rating 1 to 5. After Svatantria practice troubleshooting and safety dissociation/derealization. Stop. Ground. Feet on floor. Cold water on face. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sensory naming. Shortened sessions. Consult clinician if persistent, panic, or high arousal after Spanda/abstraction work. Use grounding breath and move attention to external anchors. Pause practices that provoke lightheadedness with breath work. Slow the pace. Breathe naturally. Sit down. Trauma activation. Avoid deep interoceptive exploration without trauma-informed support. Medical caution. Avoid forceful breath work if pregnant, hypertensive, recent cardiac issues, glaucoma, or post-surgery. Dosage and scheduling beginners. 2 5 to 10-minute exercises/day. 1 stabilization plus 1 targeted drill plus micro tools. Intermediate. Integrated sequence 3. 5 times per week. 12 to 20 minutes plus. Micro tools. Advanced. Multiple short sessions totaling 20 to 40 minutes/day with experiment loops. Consistency duration. 5 to 10 minutes daily beats irregular long sessions. Researcher and serious practitioner notes prefer within subject repeated measures. Baseline intervention, 2 to 4 weeks. Retest. Combine subjective probes with simple physiological proxies. Pupillometry, LCNE. HRV, vagal tone. EEG microstate/phase resets when available. Use convergent measures. Recognition latency plus pupil plus subjective report for stronger inference. Expect individual variability. Focus on effect sizes within persons, not group generalization. When you've practiced these drills for 1 to 4 weeks and logged your metrics, you will be ready for Part 5, a sequenced 4-week program, interpretation guidelines for your data, and long-term integration suggestions. If you'd like, I can generate a printable 4-week calendar based on these routines. Integration plan, measurement, and close 4-week sequence program, progressive and practical. Week 1, orientation and baseline. Daily, 5 to 10 minutes grounded presence, soft open awareness. After each sit, record. Labels, distraction counts, and clarity, 1 to 5. Microdals. 2 breath reset at 3 daily triggers. Phone unlock, before meeting, before a reply. Baseline probes. 1 recognition latency run, bell/tone app, and 1 short Spanda scan, 5 minutes. Log baseline scores. Week 2, strength and recognition and stability. Daily, grounded presence, 5 to 10 minutes, plus 1 short Spanda sensitivity drill, 5 to 7 minutes. Twice this week. Recognition latency probe, 6 to 8 random tone/run. Continue 2 breath resets on triggers and daily single line logging. Week 3, directed emergence and decoupling. Daily integrated sequence, 12 to 18 minutes, grounded presence, Spanda scan, short recognition probe, Shakti generation, Abhasa/Anubhava differentiation. Run an Abhasa/Anubhava test twice this week, 2 images per session. Start a 7-trial mini-experiment. Apply a 2 breath reset before 7 target interactions and log outcome. Reactive reply versus pause. Week 4, measure, adjust, and consolidate. Maintain the most useful practices. Aim for 10 to 20 minutes/day. Retest recognition latency and Spanda/HRV pre/post comparisons. Review logs. Compute weekly averages. Decide which 2 to 3 practices to continue long-term. Daily and weekly template. Example, morning, 5 to 10 minutes grounded presence plus quick journal line midday. 5 to 10 minutes Spanda sensitivity or Shakti microblock. Evening, optional 5 to 10 minutes Abhasa/Anubhava practice or brief reflection. Microdals, 2 breath reset and recognition tag whenever. Triggered, weekly review. 5 to 10 minutes average metrics, 1 sentence on change, plan tweak. 1 line logging template, copy/paste, 2026-02-09. Grounded presence 7M. Labels 5. Clarity 3 note. Less jaw tension. Fields, date, practice, duration, metrics, 1 line observation. Core metrics, simple, reliable. Labels per sit, distraction counts. Target, decrease over weeks. Subjective clarity/calm, 1 to 5. Post-practice, target. Upward trend, recognition latency. Milliseconds/seconds from event to tap or percent immediate recognitions. Target. Decrease. Behavioral metric, e.g. pauses before reply per day. Target. Increase.HRV. RMSSD. Pre/post Spanda or 2 breath reset if available. Target. Modest immediate increase post-practice. Coupling index, Abhasa/Anubhava. Subjective correlation between form vividness and effect intensity. Target decline. How to read the data. Use weekly averages and 7-day moving averages to smooth noise. Focus on within-person changes. Your baseline, your later weeks. Expect nonlinear progress. Dips are data, not failure. Meaningful shifts. 20-30% reduction in labels or recognition latency over 3 to 4 weeks is a strong signal of change. Short experiments, testable and fast. Recognition latency repeat. Baseline, 2 weeks practice retest. Hypothesis, latency shortens. HRV Spanda test. 2 min baseline HRV, 8 min Spanda practice, 2 min post HRV. Repeat weekly. Hypothesis, immediate HRV rise post-practice. 2 breath micro-trial. Use reset before 7 social replies. Record how many replies become calm/paused versus reactive. Hypothesis, reactive replies decline across trials. Abhasa/Anubhava coupling. Rate form vividness and effect for 10 images, pre/post 2 weeks. Hypothesis, coupling weakens. Troubleshooting and safety dissociation/derealization. Stop. Ground feet on floor. Name 5 external objects. Cold water on face. Shorten sessions. Consult clinician if persistent. Panic/high arousal. Switch to grounding breath. Slow exhale. Reduce practice intensity. Pause introspective drills. Lightheadedness with breath work. Slow the breath. Breathe naturally. Sit down. Trauma activation. Avoid deep interoceptive exploration without trauma-informed. Guidance, medical cautions. Avoid forceful breath work if pregnant, hypertensive, recent cardiac issues, or glaucoma. Seek medical clearance. Sustainability and habit design anchor practices to existing routines. Coffee, commute, phone unlock. Keep sessions short and non-punitive. Consistency beats intensity. Use accountability. 7-day challenge with a friend or simple shared log. Treat practice as iterative experiments. Tweak based on simple metrics. Interpreting long-term results after 1 month. Expect more frequent noticing, modest reductions in labels and latency, improved microtool use. After 3 months, potential baseline shifts, easier refocusing, clearer sense of agency, lower reactive patterns. Continue iterative testing. Baseline, intervention, retest, adjust. Ethical and epistemic notes. These translations between ancient insight and modern science are heuristic. Use them to generate testable hypotheses, not definitive metaphysical claims. Respect source traditions. Avoid cultural appropriation. Acknowledge context and practice with humility that if you share findings publicly, emphasize within subject results and avoid overclaiming causality from small N experiments. Final reflections. Ancient thinkers noticed that awareness behaves differently than ordinary objects, reflexive, immediate, and oddly resistant to reductive explanation. Modern frameworks, predictive processing, global workspace, interoception, neuromodulatory dynamics, offer ways to operationalize those intuitions and run small, safe experiments on your own experience. Use short daily practices, simple metrics, and iterative testing to turn phenomenology into data. Let curiosity and caution guide you. If you are a true seeker of higher wisdom and self-knowledge, subscribe to this channel and discover your true potential.